Welcome to the Florida Divorce Podcast, your source for the information you need to successfully get through your divorce and into the next exciting chapter of life. Now, here's your host, Attorney Scott Kalish.
Hey everyone, my name is Scott Kalish. I am a divorce and family law attorney here in South Florida. Today I want to talk to you about student loans and divorce. This can be a hot topic, obviously, especially now with the whole student loan forgiveness and COVID relief happening right now. So student loans are definitely something that's in the news. So let's jump into this and let's talk about how student loans are handled during divorce. Now, I'm sure you can imagine a situation, right? It happens all the time, where two people are married and one person wants to advance their career by going to college, going to a university, and going to school to get a degree. And in the process of doing that, they have to take out loans. You know, many people find themselves in that position where in order to attend school, in order to attend college, they have to take out student loan debt to get that done. So imagine that someone does that. After graduation, they have second thoughts on the marriage and they decide to get a divorce. That's a situation that happens all of the time, right? So the question is, are both spouses obligated to pay for the one person's student loan debt? That, unfortunately, for some is yes. Student loan debt, like any other debt incurred during the marriage, is considered a marital debt that has to be divided. Some people might not agree with that outcome or that result, but unfortunately for some, that is definitely the law here. Now, people may find it unfair because if you look at it from the person that did not receive the degree, right, did not receive the education, they might think that, you know, the husband or the wife is going to go out and enjoy the benefits or the fruits of that education for years and for time to come, you know, into the future, while the other person is not going to benefit or enjoy the fruits of that at all. You know, they're just going to have to pay for it. They're going to have to pay for it every month, while the other person is the one that's going to benefit from it. And they're going to see, you know, all the fruits of that education. So for some, it's definitely not a fair, or it's not perceived as fair, you know, outcome, right, during divorce. But unfortunately, you know, for some, obviously, I keep saying that because the other side of it is, you know, they get their entire, or they get half of their education paid by the other person. So it depends really on what side you fall on. But yeah, no, in Florida, you know, all debts in general are incurred during the marriage are going to be marital debts, and they're going to be divided by the court between the two people. Usually that division is 50-50 unless there's something extreme that went on. Also, I want to kind of give you an example, right? This is interesting, right? So imagine that there is a couple, right? And let's say before they get married, one of the spouses incurred a bunch of debt for their education. Let's say that the wife went to medical school and she became a doctor before the marriage. So she incurred student loan debt before the marriage. Now, let's imagine that they get married, and then during the marriage, the wife wants to take advantage of a better interest rate, right? And she decides to consolidate her debt, her student loan debt. And part of the consolidation process is, you know, the one company, the former company is basically paid off. That student loan company is paid off. And now she went with another company, right? And she has a new debt. So technically, the old debt is paid off by the new company who took on the debt, who consolidated the student loan debt, let's say, right? As long as no other debt was consolidated with that, no other marital debt was consolidated with that, that new debt that was incurred during the marriage, that was consolidated during the marriage, is going to stay non-marital, right? So when we're talking debt consolidation or specifically student loan debt consolidation, that's also going to be it's going to be non-marital. It's not going to be marital. So for people out there that are worried about that, oh, you know, there was a bunch of student loan debt that was outstanding before the marriage, and then they got new loans during the marriage. They went with the new company to take advantage of interest rates. So these are brand new debts. No, they're not brand new because they basically took a non-marital debt and just changed companies. The debt's pretty much still the same. So Florida law will look at that and keep that as non-marital. So they won't stick the other person with that debt if there's going to be a divorce. So to wrap up, just remember that student loans are like any other marital debt if they were incurred during the marriage. Even if one spouse was the only one to benefit from the education, it's going to be non-marital. And, remember that example with consolidation, that's probably also going to be, a non-marital debt, depending upon all of the factors and circumstances. But just in general, you can consolidate the debt during the marriage, and the student loan is going to keep its non-marital separate character, so to speak. So if you like this podcast, or you find it helpful, please give it a 5-star review. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Send me over an email. I'd be happy to answer your question. My email is Scott, SCOTT, at kjlawfla.com. Again, SCOTT, Scott at kjlawfla.com. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Florida Divorce Podcast. To learn the 10 secrets behind every successful divorce, visit floridadivorcepodcast.com. If you'd like Scott's help in your divorce case, go to kjlawfla.com.